Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where in this wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Another beautiful week ahead of us. Let's paint pictures. Let's tell stories. It's Monday Madness, people. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Another victorious weekend for the Gunners. The squad is back. And of course, joining me this fine Monday Madness is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kev, Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, good to be back. So, at ease, Squaddies, let's go. Let's go.
Shockingly, neither Kev or I are wearing black tonight. We always wear black. A team that wears black
I've
and
got
white.
black on.
Oh,
I've got black on.
You at the bottom?
I've got black tracksuit bottoms. Black
Yeah,
tracksuit bottoms on. Look.
Oh, there you go. I'm not going to show. I've got the newscaster outfit on today, so we'll just
Oh,
leave
right.
it at that, shall we?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh,
We
geez.
do have a special guest with us, Emil Franchi, who is, some of you may recognize him. He does the chart countdown on BBC One, Radio 1, and he also does a lot of stuff for Premier League TV, but he also is a magpie. And if there's ever a good time to be talking Arsenal and Newcastle, it's now. Emil, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, guys. Thank you. Nice to be amongst the top six conversation at last. It's about time.
It's taken a little while. Let's say good evening to some of our usual suspects in the house. Elliot's here. Gooner Russ is here, who, by the way, everyone has dropped 16 pounds. Kev has given up bread and booze. He's lost weight. Looking healthy and lean.
Health is wealth, and well done to Russ for making that change. I hope he can keep it up.
Yeah, man.
The 12 pins must be absolutely broke now. The Tollington and the 12 pins before game day must be broke, Kev, because, you know.
Well, listen, if it's just Russ, apparently Russ never bought a drink anyway, so don't worry about that. He's got the deep pockets and short arms.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it.
Like
Good evening to
Judges.
Trevor. Yeah, well, he's a half pint. He's a poor excuse for a drinker. Our chief like officer in the house, Tammy. We got Ian, we got Amira, we got Mark, we got Lynn, we've got the whole gang, the whole fam jamily's here. Thanks so much for joining us this fine Monday. Emil, you must be smiling from ear to ear. Have you seen Kev play? Just before we get stuck into the nuts and bolts.
St James's Park 2001. I came up and scored in front of the Gallagher. I remember he celebrated in front of us, but luckily we turned that one around. Alan Shearer's best goal ever.
Enough! Oh no!
And the very last minute winner as well from Craig Bellamy, or like an own goal, I think. Yeah, because we definitely won that game. So yeah, it was a good day. One of the best games I've ever been to, and it was one of my first few. Fantastic.
Who invited
you know what,
him?
Emil? This is what I will say. I had quite a good record at St James's Park, and I scored quite a few winners there. So get in!
I'm too young to remember that, so it's fine.
Oh, get out of it!
Oh, absolutely love it.
Emil, here's one that you won't know.
Okay.
My first time I played at St James's Park was 1989.
What a great vintage year.
A mere thought in my parents' mind at that point.
There you go. 89 it was.
Oh, wow.
And my good mate, John Burridge, was in goal.
And you see, much changed since then. I mean, look at the stadium now. It's gone through so much.
There was no roof on the Gallagher. It was open.
Proper job. 10 years later, I think it got sorted. And still talking about how we can extend that thing, and no one knows.
Wow.
Well, listen, you got a lot of fans to fit in now, mate. A lot of fans to get in there.
Big debate whether what's going to happen with all that, but it's just ongoing. Shall we move? No, let's not move. Can we stay there? We can't do anything with the land. Okay, can we get the land back? It's a mess. It's a mess at the minute. It's going to be a big conundrum when the day comes.
Well, take it from a couple of Arsenal fans here, even though Super Kev, of course, total legend, played for the club. He's a fan at the end of the day. And we're only just now enjoying football at the Emirates.
Yeah.
It's taken a while.
It's funny. I was in London recently, and I was able to. Friend just happens to live on the same street as the old Highbury site, so I was walking along, just heading towards the tube, and I thought, "Oh, interesting. Someone's got Arsenal painted on the side of the house here." And then I was like, "Oh!" And then I went in and had a quick look. So that was quite cool to see that.
Yeah. The paint job started, Emil, on the outside of the stadium today. So let's see how that goes. Right. Good evening, everyone. It's been another fantastic weekend of football in the Premier League. We're going to have to wait a whole month. The next time the Gunners play is on Boxing Day. Gosh, talk about taking the jam out of our donut. Not my line, I have to say. It's Guy Ritchie's line from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. But we've got Emil here with us for a good half hour. So we wanted to get the insider-outsider view of the Arsenal before we start asking you about Newcastle and your club and the player you stole from us, Bruno. We'll get to that eventually. What is your take on the Gunners this season?
Well, I think much like that phrase that I was saying about Newcastle being back up there, it's 20 years on from the time when Newcastle and Arsenal were fighting it out at the top of the table, and that's good. And I think it's good to see a team like Arsenal, who did have a bad spell, grow under a manager that I would say is very much up there with the whole Eddie Howe mentality. I don't think Eddie Howe brings light bulbs or anything into the dressing room, but it's a type of thing that I would say there's a lot of similarities there between the two sides at the minute. And it's always good to see a team break the mold. When Liverpool were up there, it was good to see a different team at the top. When it's Man City every year, you do get a bit bored. It's like the Leicester story, and of course Leicester was a different type of thing. But with Arsenal, you can see that the work is happening, and okay, there's a bit of good fortune given the state of some of the other teams at the moment, which is very much helping Newcastle's position as well. But I think that it's good to have a different team all the time, keeping the Premier League interesting. It's what this league is built on, and I've got no problems with Arsenal until we play each other, of course, in January, which will be an interesting one. But it is nice to see a manager given time, after what was a bit of a mixed start, and you had that transition period, but to see a manager actually trusted enough and build a squad now, the stuff that he did about getting rid of a few of the players who were very much upsetting the apple cart, I thought that takes a lot. And perhaps we'll get onto another player that upsets apple carts at the moment at another team, good friends of ours up in the Northwest. But it is that you've got to have authority. I think that much like Eddie Howe coming in and stamping down, you mentioned Bruno there, the way that he dealt with Bruno Guimaraes, who we now know is a superstar, how he didn't actually start him at all, gave him like 5 minutes or so at the start of this year, and now to be one of his main starters. I just think that the process that Arteta has brought for you guys is exactly the same, and that's what we like to see. I mean, look at him there. Look at that. It's lovely stuff.
I'm going to be nice to you. I don't know why I want to be nice to you, Newcastle fans, but it's definitely I think
it's a shared feeling, though. I think that when two teams have been through different kind of bad spots, you do think, okay, well, I'm happy for them. It's the same kind of thing happened when West Ham were flying high. I was really pleased to see them doing well. And yeah, if there's ever another team that's up there, you're always a bit like, okay, well, that's good. And I also have a lot of Arsenal players involved in my fantasy team, so I'm all for that. Saliba is getting me points, man. Getting me points.
Kev, you do your show, Hollywood Balls, with Pete Redding and Geordie Pete, who's massive magpie. And you guys have had some great players and people on your show that you do at the weekends. If you haven't seen it, Gooners, go check it out because it's a lot of fun. It's similar in a sense of clubs that have a really great fan base that want to get back. But of course, Newcastle haven't won a lot. Sorry, Emil, in a very, very long time. Arsenal have. But would you say, if you're going to pick two teams that have played enjoyable football that opposing fans can watch this season, it's us and the Magpies?
I would think so. Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's my question. Oh, wait, leave it out. All right. I know you're only on for half an hour, but steady on him, Emil. Give me a chance.
Oh, sorry. Looking right at me. I can't see. Sorry, I forgot you were here,
She's
Kevin.
looking right at me as well.
Two-footed studs up from Super Kevin Campbell. No cards. No cards.
He's right into the advertising audience there, Emil. Get in the audience. It's my ball.
Let's get my say. What can I say?
So
listen, I think Newcastle have been a breath of fresh air. We know you could kind of see Arsenal. The way they played back in the last season was great. Didn't finish well. Totally get that. We messed up. We had something to prove this season, didn't we, Sophie? We really did. We had something to prove. But I've got to say, what Eddie Howe's done at Newcastle, I never saw it happening so quick. That's for sure. I really didn't. And how he's moved certain players around, he's improved players. He's got the defense solid as a rock as well, which makes a huge difference. Always keeps you in games. And yeah, we are probably the two-form team, Soph. And, it's nice to see us at the top and Newcastle in third spot. Good to see Newcastle go away from home and attack teams as well. We see them go to United. They got a draw. See them go to Spurs. They beat Spurs. You see them beat Chelsea at the weekend. They're taking scalps like we are. So I think it's very, very good. Emil, the floor is yours now.
Well, I wouldn't say it's great to see Arsenal at the top when Newcastle are in third, so I'll disagree on that one. I want us to swap around by this time when we play each other. I'm really excited
there,
for that one. Hey, look, we did you a favour by taking out your rivals. It's just what we do. But no love lost when it gets to the Emirates, I must say, because it's always a very tough ground for us to go to. But I think it was exactly 10 years ago when we last won there, when Andy Carroll scored. So maybe 10-year anniversary.
Hopefully another 10 years.
You did humiliate us at the end of last season. That was
I wasn't going to mention it. It was a great game.
Thanks. We'll trade blows in fairness. Let me ask you this, because one of the things I think, when you look at all of the teams around us and everything that's kind of happening in the Premier League, Newcastle, Manchester City losing to Brentford, teams dropping points. Eddie Howe, Kev and I always have this debate to the point where we're actually going to create merchandise around it, because we've been arguing mostly in the early days of Arteta, but Kev says it's the players, and I've always argued that it's the manager as well. What do you think on your take? Because Eddie Howe was a manager that some teams whiffed on. Tottenham whiffed on him. Maybe they regret that now. Everyone's now saying he could be the next England manager. Kev said just wait and see what Arsenal are going to be. It's the players. What's your take, Emil, in terms of the transition you've seen from the Steve Bruce era to the owner that everybody hated, to players that maybe had an apathetic attitude towards playing? Players, manager, combo, what's your take on that?
I think that the biggest takeaway from takeover onwards is that this is, and everyone says that this is the time where you've got everyone pushing in the same direction. You've got owners wanting to push Newcastle to the top. You've got a manager that has gone away, worked on himself, and then come in and said, you know what, this is a massive challenge. We've seen what's happened with that, with the table transition. And now you've got players who are fighting for positions. They want to be on that pitch, even if it's just for 5 minutes. They want to do their bit. And then you've got the fans who are always behind the team, but it's all working in together now, and everyone's doing the same thing. I think a lot of it is the manager. I think that one thing that most people will say is that, yes, okay, the players that we signed in January were very good, but Eddie Howe essentially had to act as a bit of a director of football with those signings, apart from Bruno, because that was the only one I think that came in that wasn't one of his choices. He was like, no, I'll get Dan Burn, who is, late 20s, Newcastle fan, doing well for Brighton. It's not the sexy signing that you might look for when you first get a takeover, but Matt Targett coming in, Kieran Trippier being first on the list, those were all astute signings that Eddie Howe basically said, I want them and I don't want these, all singing, dancing players who might upset the dressing room. It's a big policy that he's got. So I think that is probably what does it. And as I mentioned as well, not starting Bruno when we first got him. We've got this world-class player here. We're not going to get him on the pitch. No, we're going to make sure Sean Longstaff, who has had a bit of a bad time, he's a confidence player and did under Steve Bruce have a pretty bad time after Rafa Benitez. It was about getting those players back because they were always there. And I think that you just look at the list of people who have improved and got back to where they are. Internationals like Fabian Schär, who often gets overlooked. And you've got others like Miguel Almiron, of course, now who's having his sweet spot. Joe Linton last season, even Jacob Murphy is getting in there and starting to do it. So I think that if a manager can get a tune out of the players, that working hand in hand, it's probably a mixture of both. I hate to sit on the fence on it, but I think it really is about the manager motivating those players to want to do more. And, in a way, perhaps the players then take it on themselves to continue that, because Joe Linton, I would say now, probably doesn't have to go back to Eddie Howe because his transformation is complete. Miguel Almiron will hopefully continue that form after this break because that's going to be interesting with him being one of the players who aren't at the World Cup and, going to have to really keep that up. But then you've got people like Kieran Trippier who just walked into the team and improved it instantly. I don't know if Eddie Howe had to do anything to Kieran Trippier to make him better. So it's one of those things where if the players are enjoying themselves, enjoying wanting to be on that pitch and in it, for the long run, then anything's possible. It's a really hard one to crack. I don't know what was said, but it's good.
Emil.
Yeah.
After the manager finishes all his team talk and all his preparation, the team's got to go out there and perform. So, who gets the results?
Probably the players. They score the goals.
And I know, of course,
I'm scared to say anything else now.
But I know what the manager, Emil, I know what the manager does. And Eddie Howe, Mikel Arteta, they have made a real difference to the football club, to the players' mindsets and all that. I get all that. But you've seen it before. There's been other managers there and at Arsenal, and the team haven't performed this consistent. So and how do you break this one down? Joe Linton was signed as a striker. He couldn't hit a barn door when he was a striker. All of a sudden, he's a box-to-box midfielder and he's incredible. Yeah, the manager takes some, of course he does. He takes some accolade to move him into a different position. But Joe Linton's got to do the business.
Yeah,
he's the one who's got to go out there and perform. That's why I always say it's the players. And when the players perform, it's the manager who gets the accolades mostly.
Well, we got it just the other day, player of the month and manager of the month. But I mean, a question to you, Kevin, would be, you have to maintain a lead. And yeah, of course it is down to the players, but surely from your days, getting the right thing said in the dressing room can make or break something, because we did have a manager who could very much see Newcastle go 1-0 up in the first half, but then the collapses under Steve Bruce were legendary. I mean, we would completely capitulate at times. So surely there's an element.
So here's the question. Do you think what Steve Bruce said at half-time made the players capitulate? No.
Well, maybe it was the lack of what was said.
Lack of what he was saying.
No, but no, because as a player, when you go out there, you don't go out there to capitulate. You go out there to win. Every professional goes out there to win. Nobody goes out there to lose. The key is, again, what is the mindset? And sometimes you have to be able to work it out on the pitch. Look at Newcastle's back four now.
Yeah,
you've got big, strong, aggressive players at the back who can defend. Do you know what? That makes a difference. You look at Arsenal. Arsenal got big, strong, quality defenders. They can defend.
I still half those players were at Newcastle though, and didn't want to play for the club at times because apathy. Of toxic it was, and that's the problem. You know, like the players were there, you could see it. Joe Willock keeps getting mentioned down here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's Mark Willock, it's a different player, I think, but yeah, with Willock, he has gone from.
He's speaking to somebody. He's
saying, yeah, he's speaking.
Yeah,
but they're saying they're definitely bringing up Joe Willock. He's getting
let's get another Willock in. We'll get all the Willocks to Newcastle because they're all pretty good players. But yeah, Joe Willock, for example, came to Newcastle and at the time was on loan from Arsenal. Definitely wanted to make his point, saying I can play in this Arsenal team, and then eventually signed for us. And it was one of those players that just disappeared and became this real laboured performer that wasn't getting anything going his way when Steve Bruce was there. And Eddie Howe has managed to once again help him capture that form again. So the players are there. And I guess, a lot of Newcastle fans, to some extent, might say that if you look at the job that Howe's done in this short space of time, you didn't even need half of the money to get us there. You could really improve half of these players just by telling them what to do. And when they go out there, give them that strength. There was a big thing about it. If the fans are believing, and it was in our flags recently, this city's believing again. Eddie Howe's words at the start of it were, make each day your masterpiece. And, that's it. He takes so much care in those games that I think that any player would want to come and play for Newcastle. And that's going to be a huge thing going forward, because as many people say, it's too far north, we don't want to go there. People like Eddie Howe now will have a reputation that players will go, I fancy a bit of that. I think I can maybe improve my game as well. So,
especially as you got deep pockets.
Well, I know that's true, but
come on, Emil, you got to admit that.
How do you feel about the deep pockets? Are you cool with it, or do you have an issue with it?
I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? And it has been. It's been one of those things where, much like the World Cup stuff, loads of journalists being like, "Well, yeah, I'm going to go and cover it." The hardest thing for me when I saw it happening, it was like the only thing I can possibly do is not defend them. And that is the biggest issue for me when I see a lot of Newcastle fans on Twitter who will see the slightest thing, not even mention Newcastle, but it's when you go in and defend Saudi Arabia, saying like, "Oh, can't wait to see what Newcastle fans will get asked about this." It's like, just leave us out of it. Don't add yourself into that conversation if you are just doing it to go, you're always picking on Newcastle. It's like, well, no, rightly so to a certain extent. We are now linked forever, unfortunately. Of course it's helpful, but deep pockets were there before, and how many football owners now are coming under dark clouds. I mean, Chelsea managed to get rid of theirs, but it's one of those where
I think at the end of the day,
rolling out the lines here, but you know what I mean.
No, I know, but football fans want to focus on football, and Kev, I think one of the things that everyone was expecting Newcastle to do was spend $1 gazillion, and they've invested, but they haven't really gone out and done the Manchester City thing yet, have they? And what I think is a really good thing is that there's competitiveness again in the Premier League, and we're seeing a different narrative building. Brentford beating Manchester City this weekend was massive, and Ivan Toney made. Say that again.
Especially at City, yeah. Huge.
I mean, who had money on that? Show me that person.
That's the bookie's favourite. When Brentford beat Man City, the bookie cleans up because that's the banker.
Whoever got that bet could probably afford to buy Newcastle now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and look, and there's other times for us to have these other discussions and debates. We're going to stick to the football for this evening. So, whose ceiling is higher, Eddie Howe or Mikel Arteta? Because what I love is that you got Gary Neville's always on the sideline talking about everything. Sometimes you just want him to shut up. I mean, I do every now and again. And then you've got Tony Adams, who is a legend at our club, failed as a manager. Steven Gerrard, okay, Rangers did the thing. Maybe that's different in Scotland. Failed in the Premier League thus far. Frank Lampard did okay with Derby in the Championship, Emil. Really on the ropes.
He's struggling
Everton,
a bit.
Kev?
No, he's struggling a bit. At the moment, he's got no forward. He's got no forwards. He's struggling. So let's call it like it is. He's struggling.
What's happened? I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, everyone was raving about Iwobi. This weekend, they're throwing his shirt back in his face. I mean, bad idea to throw a shirt into the crowd when you've lost 3-0. Just saying, probably not the best idea. What happened to, like, Tom Davies? Is it Tom Davies? The mid. What happened?
He's not a star. He's not really a star. He's not someone who's going to make a difference. So he's not. He's a squad player. And the big issue is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. When you haven't got a number 9, someone who could hold it up there, you're relying on Neil Maupay, who's small.
And he came in that one game, and Everton won, and they had a really, really good game. Do you, Kev? I mean, your old strike partner, Big Dunk. Maybe he deserves a fair crack at the whip. Maybe he's not been given the opportunity.
Do you mean to play as striker?
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Get him on the pitch.
What do you mean a fair crack of the whip? I don't want. What do you mean?
To manage Everton, to really be given the keys
he's not
to
at
the kingdom.
Club.
I know he isn't now, but maybe they made a mistake. Why did the shiny toy Lampard?
You can't say they've made a mistake because everyone didn't think Lampard could do the business back end of last season. He done the business. Well, call it what you like. They still had enough games. If he weren't good enough, they wouldn't stay up. It's that simple. There's no luck in all them games, Soph. There's not luck. You've either got to do the business or you don't.
There's a little bit of luck in sports.
I would say that again,
over half a season, there's not.
A protester coming on the pitch and taking themselves to the goalpost to put 10 minutes onto a game against us. I mean, that's pretty lucky. That doesn't happen anywhere else.
But they beat you. 10 men beat you. So what you talking about? 10 men beat you. Anyway, swiftly moving on. So the bottom line of it is this: if you don't score goals, you are going to struggle. And that's Everton's big problem. Everton have solved kind of the problem at the back. Midfield is a lot better, but they've got no killers up front. They've got no cutting edge. And you see it week in, week out. A couple of weeks ago, they beat Palace 3-0. Everyone's like, whoa, Everton. And all of a sudden, back-to-back losses, there's anarchy. This is the way Everton are. And until you address the top end of the pitch, you are going to struggle.
That is what happens down at the bottom there, though, as well. It's just,
he really
down
is
there.
In this kind of mood.
He's on it tonight, isn't he?
That Emil's got. Hey, that 2-footed tackle he tried to do on me, it got me, mate. I tell you.
I'm in his head. We need to get Eddie Howe in here to calm him down. That's what we need. We need a good manager of this situation. But what I was going to say was from last season with Newcastle, when you're down there, you know what it's like. You suddenly stop scoring goals. There'll be players in that team who are capable of doing it. Anthony Gordon, for example, when he wants it. And I was going to say as well, that's the reason why I think Davies has disappeared. Gordon's the golden boy now, and maybe it's just something about players with blonde hair from the Everton area. They're just all of a sudden they take over that mantle one by one, and this one's good. But it is. When it's scrappy, it's scrappy. When it's not going your way, it's not going your way. And very much now, everything is going against Everton in that respect. They've got a decent defence like us, but then they have those weird games like the other day where it's a 3-0. And, people like Cody and others who are great players, obviously getting himself on the plane to Qatar, it just isn't happening. And sometimes that's how it is in football. So...
Okay, so before we get you out on the big story of the day, of course, what happens to Newcastle United this season? Who do you think wins the Premier League? How do you see it all shaking out, Emil?
Well, it's going to come down to that big game when we play each other. But of course, you can never, ever rule out Man City. And that might be a safe option. But if you look at a team who has... the steam to go all the way to the end, it's Man City. So I think that somehow they always cause the others to fall away. I'd really like Arsenal to win it if it's not us. The fact that I'm even seeing Newcastle are in the conversation is quite wild. But that's what it is. Talking to a friend the other day, being like, that thing at the minute, it shouldn't be happening yet, but it is. You know, they shouldn't be going all the way in a cup yet. They should be winning a trophy yet. Who says we can't? Who says something will happen this season where we go, that's happened a bit quick, hasn't it? And this is just how each day is as a Newcastle fan. The fact we've only lost one game this season is crazy. It's less than Man City this season, which is mad. So yeah, it's I think Newcastle will be up there. To get Champions League football straight away would be weird, because I don't know what that spells out for next year, because that means that investment is needed. And of course, yeah, big pockets, it will probably happen. But I think, yeah, just looking at that comment there, I think that fourth or fifth is not out of the question now, given where it's going. And yeah, I think Arsenal, if they can keep up this, if this World Cup break doesn't cause something to go wrong, then power to you. You know, it's going to be the team that can handle it by April.
Okay, so some of our listeners in the chat are saying Newcastle should go for this guy. Going to start with Super Kev on the big story of the day. Oh, look, they're posing together. And here we go with the old, oh, what do you want me to do? No, I'm not going to do that. Bugger you. I feel if Ten Hag had been as brave as Mikel Arteta, Manchester United wouldn't have been in this pickle to begin with regards to Ronaldo, Super Kev. What's your take on Ronaldo's interview, and can you see him going to another club that is in the Champions League, or a Newcastle type club that want to get into the Champions League? What is your take?
He ain't going no Newcastle, that's for sure. Eddie Howe don't want anybody in the dressing room who's going to upset it. That's for sure. It was always coming after a while. Listen, Ten Hag made his feelings known. He said you could go in the summer. It's the hierarchy who made sure he stayed there because of the shirt sales. That's it. And from that moment on, there's been problems at the club. I think Ronaldo will leave in January. It's an embarrassment for Manchester United. Listen, he is one of the greatest players ever to play. Of course he is. But no one is bigger than the football club. And the moment you start putting your head thinking you're bigger than the football club, you've got to go. And, you know, they're going to back Ten Hag 100%. They're going to fine him, do whatever they have to do. And you know what? I think the fans have turned as well, because I think this is a bit too close to the bone for them. So I think he's going to be... You mean the
truth?
Well, listen, whether you call it the truth or not, you know, the truth, sometimes fans don't want to hear the truth. Look how many times on air I tell the truth and I'm called deluded. So sometimes the truth isn't what people want to hear. They'd rather you keep quiet and do things smart. So, you know, he's come out and it's over 2 days. So let's see what more comes out. But I think he's a goner. I can't see him. I said earlier on that I could see him going, possibly something going to Chelsea or something like that. But I can't see that now.
It's so funny, isn't it, how so many people say Ronaldo's past his best, and it's, you know, he can't play, and maybe he just can't play in Ten Hag's system. I don't believe that someone who scored 18 goals for them last season is past their best, Emil. If this was Newcastle, we had a similar situation. Mikel Arteta removed Aubameyang from the club. Not really the career that Ronaldo's had, of course, when you are one of the GOATs. And Kev has always said to me, Sophie, superstars are treated differently. Doesn't matter what anyone says, it is a fact. What's your take on Ronaldo's exit interview with Piers Morgan?
It's just, it's box office. He is box office and always has been. And you know, I think it's just amazing. We were talking before about the moral questions about stuff. You know, Man United fans are outraged that he's gone on Piers Morgan more than the accusations that were there last summer, which probably says a lot about Piers Morgan, if you ask me. But that is it, isn't it? It's I mean, an Arsenal fan doing it as well. Is he trying to get him across, do you think? Is that what it is?
He's been trying to sign Ronaldo for the last two seasons.
Putting the groundwork in. Yeah. He's just twerking for him a bit now too much, isn't he? Just because he said he's got a good body. Oh, God. Yeah, I think for any footballer to do that, it's curtains, really. It's just unnecessary. Like, who's saying that? And you know, why come out and almost try and take down the club that you owe a lot to. I think it's really sad. It's really sad that he's come out and done that to take the swipes at Wayne Rooney as well. I mean, was that completely necessary? We know what Ronaldo's like, but it's like a petulant child. It's very much the final days of Donald Trump. It's just these people who think that they are untouchable, and then all of a sudden, if it doesn't go their way, they're going, let's go and speak to Piers Morgan. In fact, I think Trump did the same thing. So, it's just one thing after another, and the sooner he gets out of there, the better it's going to be for both. I want him nowhere near Newcastle United, though, and I don't think Eddie Howe would, or any of our fans. It was one of the names that was just all there all the time, What's the point in taking someone like that on when we've got a good thing going on already? Chelsea would make sense because I know what the owner's thinking with that. He's probably thinking very much a similar thing with the shirt sales and everything like that. Commercial. But ultimately, this will probably that'll put him off even further. I think someone in the comments said he's off home. I think Portugal's probably the best place. Cement a final legacy there, and right on cue, while we're slagging off Man United, it just arrives just like that.
Just as we are talking about Ronaldo Super Kev, joining us is Adam Matic. Welcome to the show, Adam. Thanks for joining. It's been a busy day for you.
Yeah, sorry I'm late, guys. I was caught up in probably what you were just talking about. It's been a day I wasn't expecting to be covering, and coming back from Fulham yesterday, everything just went chaotic, and the whole day completely flipped upside down. It's crazy.
You can see Adam on United Stand TV. He also has his own channel on YouTube as well. You can see him and Emil on Sky Sports. We met doing transfer deadline day, which was awesome. Love meeting new people who are epic and talk really good stuff about football. Adam, seeing as we're on the subject right now, and better late than never, Emil, you want to hang out for a little bit more over here and hear what Adam has to say? And I'm sure Kev will have a question for you as well, Adam. What's your take on what's happened and what's the United universe, talking about? By the way, we Arsenal fans are really enjoying the theatre, I have to say.
Hey, don't knock it yet. You know what Piers Morgan's like, and this big surprise that's coming up. He could be coming over to the Emirates yet. You never know. You know what he's like, but that would be a story. I think everyone's waiting in anticipation for this two-part. Let's not forget, two-part story on the rest of this interview that Ronaldo's done. I've actually just been on Sky talking about it now. The United fan base is, I think this is it. We know there's no coming back from this. It's too much. He says that the fans are behind him. Well, when you go behind the manager's back, that's the end of the line for a lot of fans. That for me especially, that's when, no, I'm sorry, that's too much. The supporters will always back the manager. The United fans will always back the manager. It doesn't matter who the player is. There's no one bigger than the football club. I've been calling Ronaldo out for his performances and under par performances this season. I just feel like he is this type of character that struggles with criticism. And I think every player at Manchester United has had a fair share of criticism over the last couple of seasons. And Ronaldo has underperformed this season. He's due his share as well. And do you know what? Unless it's about Ronaldo, it just doesn't seem to be working for him. It just doesn't work. And I just feel now the fan base is at a stage where we want to see the team. We want to see the team perform. And the best performance of the season we had was against Spurs at home. And all the headlines was about Ronaldo and what he did. Yesterday, we had a young kid, Alejandro Garnacho, steal the headlines, or what we thought were going to be the headlines, of a 93rd minute winner. Brilliant scenes. Everyone's going to the World Cup happy. But no, there's Ronaldo again. He's dropped another bomb. And it just seems to always be about him and not the football anymore. And I think it's just come to the end of the line with a lot of United fans now. It's time. We want to move on. We want to support a team. We're Manchester United supporters. We're not Ronaldo supporters. And if he doesn't want to be part of Ten Hag's project, then he has to go. Simple as that.
Adam, has Ronaldo really hurt his legacy? What is it big time, or is it just leave? One of them ones. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's the Ronaldo the footballer, and then there's Ronaldo 400 million followers on Instagram that will back every single word on every single action that he makes. And I feel like he's just got too big. I feel like he thinks he's more than what he actually is. And I think he believes in what all his followers are telling him. But his football hasn't backed that up recently. And as far as United fans are concerned now, as far as I'm concerned, I think his legacy is tarnished. I mean, I can't remember who brought it up on Sky before, but Ronaldo, the superstar, was pretty much Real Madrid. Yes, he sort of started at Manchester United, and a lot of United fans have held on to that what we created, Ronaldo. But really, he was made massive at Real Madrid. I think all United fans understand that to a certain degree, but I think that, like you said, Kev, then his reputation has definitely been tarnished. Now, the way he's gone is not how we wanted it to go. And no United fan wanted this, but Ronaldo is to blame for all of this. It's not the club on this occasion. And I have gone in on Manchester United in many ways in terms of how the club is run. But this solely is on Manchester United. The club have backed the manager on this, and this is how it should be. They have backed what he did when he punished him for 2 misdemeanors of leaving the ground early, which is unforgivable. It doesn't matter who you are. You don't leave your team hanging. And the club have backed him on that, and I'm sure the club will back him again. And this is all on Ronaldo. And Kev, he's tarnished that legacy. He really has with this. It's leaving that horrible sour taste in a lot of United fans' mouths right now.
Kev, what do you think, and to the guys as well? The rumours were that he was bound for Manchester City. In hindsight, maybe they should have just let him do that. If Thierry Henry was coming back to England and there were rumours that Tottenham wanted to sign him, no Arsenal fan would ever want that to
Wouldn't happen, Soph. Listen, Cristiano Ronaldo going to the noisy neighbours is not going to happen in Manchester, let me tell you. So even if they bought him,
Sir Alex, Kev, how culpable is Sir Alex in this situation?
He is.
Sir Alex?
Yeah.
How is he culpable for anything? He's not manager.
Well,
can I jump in on that quickly? Actually,
of course.
I think where you're coming from with that, Soph, if I'm not mistaken, is Sir Alex Ferguson played a big part in bringing Cristiano Ronaldo back to Old Trafford. I think there was a certain comment Sir Alex Ferguson made to a then journalist telling a certain editor of the Daily Mirror to go and F himself somewhere. And that certain editor was a certain person who did an interview not too long ago that we're all talking about right now. And the link between Ronaldo and Piers Morgan, I just feel like this is what United fans are not liking at the moment. I think we all love Sir Alex Ferguson, but I feel like he shouldn't be involved in transfer matters. He shouldn't have to be the man that people go to like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was for advice. It just seems while he's there, he has a say which isn't really helping us move forward. We're sort of living in the past and trying to bring back the yesteryears of what it used to be like. And we cannot do that. We are a different team now and a different club. We have to try and move forward, but we always seem to be stuck in the past. And that's hard for me to say because we used to sing that about Liverpool fans and they move forward with their new projects. And we are behind a lot of football teams and a lot of football clubs in this Premier League right now. And it's not all Sir Alex Ferguson. No, I'm not saying that. But I think the fact that he's there, it's having an impact on certain decisions that are made in the football club as well, especially around the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. That especially was hard. But Cristiano Ronaldo going to Manchester City, I think that was set up by Mendes. I think that was just applied to bring United to the table. Like Kev said, I don't think he would have gone to City. I really don't. But I think Sir Alex Ferguson definitely had a say in Ronaldo coming. I don't know why he has such a say in terms of players coming in. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in fast-forwarding that was the rumour that he fast-forwarded that managerial appointment instead of the the sort of interim role that we was supposed to see out to the end of the season. And it's hard to know because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I feel that him being there is not helping anything at all with United moving forward.
Mm. Kev, the reason why... Go on, jump in, Kev.
Yeah, no, go on. You explained your part.
Okay,
and then
so
I'll
my
answer.
part was, I think one of the things, even though it wasn't really good after Wenger left and Emery took over, we went on a bit of a run, but clearly it wasn't going to work with his style of football, but also the hierarchy that he had didn't support him the same way Mikel is getting support now. Removing Wenger from the scenario altogether, I really get how some Arsenal fans want to see Wenger back at the Emirates in the stands. I just find it so intimidating. How many times is Sir Alex Ferguson shown on a broadcast when he's at a game? At some point, for a team to truly evolve and move on, they need to remove themselves from this situation. People talk about a player not being bigger than a club. Well, a manager is not bigger than a club either. And hiring Moyes, putting Moyes forward as the manager that he wanted to take over, I think that there's still, his legacy is a beautiful thing, but him being involved, I don't think allows United to move on. And when Mourinho said one of the greatest achievements of his career was finishing second with Manchester United, people laughed at him. And you can now see that the challenges are so great. There's an institutional issue at United, Kev, that goes beyond just football.
But that's not Sir Alex Ferguson's fault. I mean, you look at Liverpool. Liverpool have got Kenny Dalglish sat in the stand.
Yeah, but how many? Okay.
No, but hold on. But we're talking about the relevance of having somebody who's a legend at the football club with influence. The big problems are this. Manchester United, Arsenal haven't been where they should be. That's the big problem. So we could talk about Sir Alex Ferguson or we could talk about Arsene Wenger. It doesn't matter who's in the stand. The key is, what are you working with and can you get the job done? The problems are they haven't been able to get the job done. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo maybe wanted
Mourinho won the Europa League and the League Cup.
Yeah, but nobody mentioned it's a problem that Sir Alex Ferguson's in the stand. That's my point.
No, but eventually it becomes a problem.
No, but it's not. No,
managers
Sophie,
are always judged by him,
Sophie.
And when he's present...
No, Sophie, you're always going to be judged. He is the yardstick for Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson, just like Arsene Wenger is at Arsenal.
Yeah, but Wenger's not there anymore. He's not around.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The yardstick is still those managers because they are so good.
Yeah, I get what Kev's saying. I don't think it's a problem them being in the stand. It's the unknown of the influence they have with what goes on behind the scenes, I think, is the bigger problem on this one, because I don't think anyone needed to leak out that Sir Alex Ferguson was part of this deal. And that probably is the bigger problem. It's the leaks and things that come out of the club and how we find out this information. It's all wrong. And I think that and the structure of the football club is what's probably the bigger issue. But the fact that Sir Alex Ferguson is still having to call up players. I know Ronaldo's a different breed to everything else, and it's just crazy circumstances. But the fact that he's actually involved is kind of like, you just got to let it go. He shouldn't be involved. He should be able to sit there and look at what he's achieved, facing the stand that's named after him for such an amazing time that he's had at the football club.
Let me ask you a question.
Emil, you're still having fun? You can duck out anytime.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm not even here. I'm like Alex Ferguson right now.
When Cristiano Ronaldo is probably coming back to Manchester United, do you think he's going to want to speak to Sir Alex Ferguson first?
I think he will want to speak to Sir Alex Ferguson, yeah.
Of course he will. So Sir Alex Ferguson can't get away from it.
That's why I think the club need to take that decision out of his hands.
It's a media thing as well, though, guys.
But whether he's influential or not, Ronaldo wants to speak to him, so he's gonna speak to him. That's my point.
This is it. Remember the first interview that Piers Morgan did, and he asked Ronaldo.
I don't watch
the one where he gave him the Arsenal shirt.
No, it was the. He said, "How many people do you trust in your life?" And Cristiano Ronaldo said, "There's 4 people in my life that I trust. I guarantee one of them people will be Sir Alex Ferguson. Guarantee that'll be
100%.
it."
Emil, what's the outsider perspective on this too? Jump in.
The thing with this is that this is exactly, but Newcastle for years have had the eye of the storm of the Mike Ashley situation. So when that gets taken away, when that storm is removed, the media around it, every problem every problem gets picked up on while it centers on you, and when it's away from you, it's different. And that's the thing. The cameras focusing on Alex Ferguson being there. That's not necessarily what fans in the stadium will see or focus on. Same with Dalglish and anything to do with Arsenal over the final few years. When things are going well, no one pays any attention to the bad stuff. And this is it. It's just a sideshow like it has been the entire time. Ferguson would not be getting mentioned if this wasn't happening. So as soon as Ronaldo's gone, it'd be like, oh, is Alex Ferguson? Yeah, well, yeah, of course he is. He's a club legend. But it won't be, oh, he's leaving notes saying definitely pick Ronaldo today in the dressing room. You know, he's falling out with Ten Hag. When it's away from you, it always feels like it's not. And, you know, Arsenal and Man United are probably the 2 classic examples because, like you said, it is those 2 great rivals who one is still in dire straits. The other is coming out of that dark cloud. So it's great to watch from outside, I have to say, because there's just no problems here.
He's horrible, Adam, this guy. He's horrible.
Oh, tell me, if it was going badly, Kev, we'd be having different words. I'd be crying right now. I'm telling
you, you'd be getting in that stand again, mate.
I've still not forgiven them Magpies for playing Sam Allardyce football at Old Trafford. I swear, I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it.
Tactics are great, aren't they? I love it.
Well, Adam, we know you're super busy and you've got a lot of stuff going on, but we do want to get your take. We were talking to Emil earlier about the Arsenal Football Club and our season. When we were all sitting down in September, we were having so many different conversations about, you know, what could be the evolution of the league, the transition at Chelsea, the continual transition at your club and our club as well. What has been your take on Arsenal? And can United learn lessons from being patient the same way we've had to learn lessons from maybe being patient with Mikel Arteta? What's your take on it all?
100%. I mean, you look at for instance, the longest serving managers in the Premier League and look where their positions are in this league table. You look at Klopp, you look at Pep Guardiola, you're now looking at Arteta up there. Longevity is starting to come back again. The Chelsea mould, I'll use Chelsea as an example here of sacking managers. Yeah, it worked for a time, but it just this phases and these time spells and it moves on, I think. And I think right now, managers need that time. They need that backing. This is why I am excited about how Manchester United has changed, because it does look like the club are backing the manager for a change. But with Arsenal, you can see that has come to fruition. And Sophie, what did you messaged me, you DM'd me about Cristiano when I did a post outside of Villa Park, and I said, on a football pitch, forget about everything else. It is not going to work with Cristiano Ronaldo, with Ten Hag as a system manager. Look what Arteta did with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And you make a big statement like that as a manager and you set the standards, and then everyone falls into line like they have done. The players are there, the quality players are there, and now they've got a leader that they believe in Arteta. I still am surprised a little bit about how well you have actually started the season, but you are playing football that warrants the position in the league. And again, that really pains me to say that, but you can never. And the biggest thing I always say with judging players, and everyone says to me, no, you look at this system, look at these stats, forget about the stats. It's the eye test. You always know what you see on the pitch, and you cannot ignore what you see on the pitch. And it's a team playing for each other. It's not cost a lot of money, that team. It's been invested in very, very well. I think Arsenal probably did win the transfer title this summer. You have to look at it now in terms of the positions and the players that he brought in. It just worked. And I do feel like, you know what, the longer it goes on, you can't ignore the fact that they are title challengers, especially the way City are playing, which has been pretty poor over the last few weeks. They've got away with it. And I think Arsenal have looked quite comfortable in most games, and that's the worrying thing. It's not like the scraping wins and they've been playing under par. They've been playing well enough to control games and not exude too much energy, in my opinion. And that's down to Arteta. No one else. I think his stock went up after the documentary. I think everyone looks at him in a totally different way after that documentary. I did. I know that. He is a very passionate man, and I can see the passion in the team. That's when you know a manager has full control and it's working. And yeah, I don't want to say anymore.
Adam, keep going, Adam. I'm loving it.
We love Adam and Emil. They could stay forever.
Oh, bless them, bless them.
You can't deny what's in front of you. I've always said it. It's like, yeah, as painful as it is, the proof is in the pudding. And Arsenal are where they are because they've lost one game. Who did they lose that game to? Oh, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So wait,
I'll just finish on that one.
There it is.
Yeah, he was going to go there, wasn't he?
Up.
But weren't we? I say we weren't. I think we were naive. I think we've learned a lesson from that match. And I was there at Old Trafford, and it was a long drive home, let me tell you. But our fans were unbelievable. You were there, and we were unbelievable. Your fans just got stuck into it, I think, after 75 minutes, Adam. Not unusual at Old Trafford. Sorry for the elbow there. Sorry for the butcher-style elbow there in the stomach. But we were naive, but that was a game we shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, I mean, you were the better team on the eye, but it's about taking your chances. We know this game. And we dissected you on the break. I think we definitely played a way that was going to create chances with how high Arsenal play in terms of the line, the defensive line. I think that played into our hands with Marcus Rashford. I think he definitely had that game. And the difference with us this time was we have someone in Christian Eriksen who can find that pass. Who just a little bit, it takes that one moment, that bit of brilliance, and that's what won it in the end. I think every single shot we had was a goal, pretty much in that game. It's just one of them games that you take your chances. I mean, we had it against Aston Villa last week. Everyone said we got hammered. De Gea didn't have a save to make. Everything they hit went in. Sometimes them games happen, and that happened for us that day. But we were dogged, and I think we were decent defensively. I think you created a lot of half chances, nothing crazily like, I would say, great chances. It was sort of half chances through the game. You can see the quality that Arsenal had in terms of how they controlled the ball. And that's what I've said before. That's what I see in Arsenal now, that in most of them games, they would have took one of them half chances, then moved on and probably created a few more with teams trying to push out and get more. It just never got going for you on that day, and I'm happy that it didn't, really. That was a good one for us.
50 touches, I think, in your penalty box. And yeah, Kev said that, I mean, he could have buried a few chances that day. We probably would have walked away with 3 points.
United were ruthless. United were ruthless that day.
Yeah,
and
they
really taught us a lesson. That's what they did. They taught us a lesson. The key was we had to learn from it, and we did learn from it.
That's the key, and it's moving on from the mistakes.
So we asked Emil this question, and we'll get you out on this one as well, Adam, because, his Newcastle were flying high. And, I mean, he had to dig at Kev early on about Shearer's goal, and Kev broke his neck just a little bit. So be careful how you answer here. But no, jokes aside, how do you see this? I think that this is going to be like an insanely tight race. I don't think it's over by any stretch of the imagination, with the World Cup sandwiched in between all of this. Who knows what the heck is going to happen? What is your take? How do you see it all ending? Do Newcastle end up in a top 4 spot?
I said at the start of the season, and I'll give myself a pat on the back for this one. I said we need to watch out for Newcastle this season. I said, because I've seen how they finished last season, and you can't ignore it. People are just like, it's Newcastle. It's Newcastle. It's Arsenal. It's Arsenal. You could say what you want to say, but at the end of the day, it gets to a point where you have to take it seriously. And taking it seriously it's like looking at it and going, well, look where they are. look who they've played. Look at how they've played against the bigger teams. And do you know what? It's like the young managers like Arteta and Eddie Howe. It's credit, and you have to give credit where it's due. And I feel like United are on the start of the path that Arsenal's where when Arteta just come in. That's where I feel we are. I feel we're 2 years behind Arsenal. I feel Newcastle have surprised everybody. I feel that's how it is. I think everyone thought they were going to spend big. They've not. They've been very clever with the signings. It's been very well structured. Players they needed in certain positions, and they've got the best defence in the league. Who'd have thought that of a Newcastle side? I mean, I'm going back to Kevin Keegan days here. It's like, you score 4, we'll score 5. I don't care. But Newcastle, I've just asked to pick my team of the season. I think I had 3 Newcastle players in my team for the team of the season so far. There was 2 Arsenal ones in there as well.
Which 2?
Your 2 players, I picked Ramsdale and Odegaard as your 2 players.
Wow, no Saliba.
No, I had to pick 2 centre-backs, and no one's getting ahead of Martinez for me. But my surprise pick was Botman at the back for Newcastle.
No, he's been great.
He has been a fantastic signing. He has been brilliant. And that's where I look at it. I go, under the radar signings like that shows a club that's got structure. Newcastle, I think they will be in the top 4. I really do. I feel like they've got a strong base, and they've got the backing behind, and they've got a manager, again, that the players you can clearly see are playing for.
So clearly you both see Tottenham falling out the top 4. Is that right?
Yep, I do.
Will.
Yeah,
always.
I do.
Who are they?
I like these guys.
They can come back, right, Super Kev? For
Say
sure.
the right things about that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll all finish in the top 4. Arsenal are on City close. And I think we'll all come away happy with our season's work.
We'll love that. Who's going to win the league? Your noisy neighbours or your old school 90s Premier League rivals?
This is a very difficult one. It's not got much easier for United fans. I mean, we've had to pick from Liverpool and City for the last 4 years, and that's been hard on its own. But I hope, do you know what? I want Arsenal to win it simply because I don't like City. I really don't. I mean, I'm saying that because I sat in the City end last season when they beat us 4-1. I couldn't get a ticket, so I thought, you know what? I don't care. I'm going in the City end. And they did the Posman for the first time in 18 months when I was there. So they were bouncing up and down in front of me. And I was just like, why did I do this? I'm never doing this again. And then at the start of this season, I went and sat in the Brentford end at the start of the season. I went, why do I keep doing this? I shouldn't do this. It's a recipe for disaster. But no.
Sitting the clock in at the Emirates, will you, Adam?
Oh no, God, that would be too much. I want Arsenal to win it, but it's just that Pep factor. I know. Yeah. And Haaland getting 6 weeks off. I don't think Ashton United will get that long move nailed down. The cheek of that one, that was unbelievable. But their team, it's like, I know they've said that they struggled, but City can do 15 games in a row easily when they come back. And you know what? Yeah. You mentioned it before, Soph. It's whoever comes back from that World Cup with their players intact. I think that's a massive factor. And this is a weird season again because of the World Cup. United actually have got quite a lot of players not actually going. So we might not actually do too bad out of it.
Yeah. We have a few, but they won't. Yeah, they won't play. Newcastle, how many do you have, Emil, going?
We've actually got 6 if you count the young lad who's going for Australia. This wonder kid we've signed is Garang Kuol, his name is. Then we got Trippier, Pope, Wilson, Fabian Schär, and Bruno. Most of those won't even get a game as well. Maybe Trippier is your starter. Wilson maybe comes on a few times. Fabian Schär starts for Switzerland. The rest, you might not see them, which is great.
Partey and Xhaka will play the most games for us. And obviously, Kevin, I don't care. I'm going to be selfish. I want everyone out of the group stages, bring everyone home, wrap them up in cotton wool, put them on the windowsill and let them rest for a little bit.
A problem United have got is we've got Argentina and Brazil strong. And I can see them both going very far in the tournament.
Going deep. Yeah, they're going deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
All right. Well, listen, you two have been absolutely brilliant. Emil, let everyone know where they can find you. I've put your banner up, your handle up, but where can they find you work-wise and stuff like that as well? Where can they listen to more of your stuff?
Yeah, that's my handle there for Twitter, Instagram, you name it. Newcastle fans who might be watching it, I'm sure I've got a few switching allegiances, because as soon as it goes bad for Arsenal, they'll be coming straight to us. Let's be honest. And yeah, we have True Faith. That is our name. Podcasts, Patreon podcast, and everything like that. Anything to enjoy how it is at Newcastle at the moment. It's particularly nice to go back to the stuff when it was bad, if you can find it, and then listen to what it sounds like now, if you want a real gauge of what it's like to support Newcastle. But yes, YouTube, True Faith. I do a weekly video with my friend Adam, and we have a little pint in the pub, and we just chat rubbish about Newcastle, which is what I like to do. But yeah, professionally, Premier League TV, I think you'll find me around the world on there somewhere. Can't get it over here unless you've got one of those dodgy sticks that everyone's dad tells you about. And the other thing as well, of course, is that Radio 1 thing that I do. It's just
the charts.
Well, now I'm the cover presenter for Bits and Pieces, but Jack Saunders is a massive gunner who's the actual presenter. So I won't take away from Jack. You've got an Arsenal
man
on
the show for us. Maybe you can wangle.
He doesn't know who I am. Not yet, anyway. Come on. I just covered while he was on holiday. I'm just small time.
Love it. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much. And Adam, let everyone know where they can find you. Hopefully I got your handle right, but
that's my real name for my Twitter. I'm known as AdamMatic because someone said I look like Nemanja Matic. Don't even start. I don't know where that come from, but it stuck. For some reason, it stuck. But yeah, so you can catch me on Instagram at AdamMatic31 as well as the tag for Twitter there. Obviously, I'm on the United Stand, growing ever more. We've got a massive, massive announcement coming on Thursday. So if you do follow the United Stand, tune in on Thursday. Things are
Ronaldo interview. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, we wish. Yeah, I would go to town on Ronaldo. I don't think that'd go down well. I'm already hated by a lot of the fan base for being honest about Ronaldo, but like I said, it's another story. But yeah, on the United Stand, obviously, and that's my. I do have my own YouTube channel as well, where I do my match vlogs, and some of them horrible experiences that I talked about are actually on there. That's AdamMaticTV, United Stand, AdamMatic31 on Instagram. You'll catch me doing all sorts on there. There's a great video on my Instagram of a last-minute winner and the crowd reaction. That's what it should be about, not Cristiano spoiling it. That's what it's all about, being in there amongst it on an away day. You know what? Fulham was quite nice, actually. I enjoyed it. First time I've been to Fulham.
It's a great away day.
It's really good for you as well, Adam, because there's a neutral end there, so you'll fit right in from all the stadiums you go to.
I couldn't believe it, because when you walk in, it says away fans and home fans. I'm like, what's this?
There you go. Perfect. They knew you were coming. They saw you coming.
It's London, mate. It's London.
Yeah,
true.
Chelsea season ticket holder section, that is.
You guys are getting rave reviews from the Gooners in chat, and Newman always gives. We're not. Kev and I are staying, by the way, because Kev's going to teach you about Odegaard.
I need less.
We're having that.
Kev gets a 6, but Kev loves it when he gets a high mark from Newman, because the two of them.
Low. I need it low.
You need it lower, right? Yeah.
Low.
Yeah, Emil gets a 10 because he loves music, so that's why you've got the high score there, Emil. Well done.
I should mention as well, I'm on Absolute Radio as well, which Newman probably like a bit more than Radio 1.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah. Well, look, thanks so much for joining, guys. You promised to come back after the World Cup and later on in the season, so we can have another chat.
I'll come on as soon as we beat Arsenal.
There's definitely an Emirates sort of meet-up coming soon, isn't there, when we travel down there? I think that's got to happen.
January.
Lovely.
We'll see you in January, Adam.
We'll
see you, Emil, giving it large over there.
Get used to it.
He's going to bruck you up, Emil.
Get used to it. Hey, Kevin, come and show you dare show your face at St. James's Park ever again? Oh, probably not.
Really? All right.
Here he is. He's on one. Let's go. Come
Sophie,
on, son.
Sophie, you heard that right? He said, I
can't believe he said it out loud. I
All
cannot.
right, there you go.
Might be time to bring the old samurai out, Kevin.
Samurai out. Take his head off.
Don't worry, I won't be as brave in the flesh.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Anytime.
We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
All right, brilliant stuff from Emil and from Adam. Thanks so much to
fun.
them for
Good
joining.
lads,
Aren't they
eh?
great? I really loved
Fantastic.
meeting them at Sky, and they were just super, super cool. And I love talking to opposing fans, you know, who have totally balanced views. And it was really, really awesome. So, and I met some others. We had Harriet Pryor on when we talked to when we played Liverpool. And the listeners enjoyed her. Kwaku is going to come on next.
He's got to
Kev,
come. He's a lovely lad. Kwaku's a lovely
we love
lad.
Kwaku.
Yeah, lovely lad.
And Steve, Manchester City guy as well. So more like that to come. And we love having the opposing view and what they think of Arsenal. So Kev and I are staying for a minute because I need to hear about what Kev thought of the game against Wolves. And Super Kev, as you have seen some of our listeners and Arsenal fans moaning sometimes. Dan Potts was on here saying that Odegaard couldn't lace Maddison's boots the other day. Give me your take on the game.
He wouldn't want to, because Maddison will be on the bench and Odegaard's captain. So there you go. Look, again, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So we've said it from the first game of the season against Crystal Palace that Odegaard, as captain, needs to take more chances. He needs to shoot more. Well, Sophie's our top scorer with 5 goals. So he's doing his job. He's still scheming. He's still working hard. He's still playing his part. But Sophie, when we really needed somebody to step up, the captain stepped up and got not 1, but 2. 2 goals. And what a performance. I thought he was man of the match for us. Followed by Gabriel at the back. I thought Gabriel was excellent. And do you know what, Sophie? Wolves played absolutely fantastic in the first half because they have to. You know, when I keep saying about we will get the best of the opposition because they are afraid. They play their best. They want to win. Top of the league, Arsenal. Let's take them on. Let's sit back in this position. And you saw they were breaking on passes and intercepting our passes quite a lot and trying to catch us on the break. Second half, we stepped it up. We passed the ball a lot quicker and we moved. Jesus started to move from centre forward out to the left. And you saw what happened. You saw some of the movement. Vieira coming on for Xhaka. We were probably thinking, oh, Xhaka going off. Could that really affect our team? Vieira took a bit of time to get used to get into the flow of things. But Sophie, any Arsenal fan watching, watch that goal. Jesus passes early, but it's Vieira's first touch. Watch what it does to the goalkeeper. It draws the goalkeeper out so we could just put it over him and the goal's at the mercy. And it's great. 2 of our players are there. If Odegaard doesn't score, Saka scores. So we take the lead. And then I've got to say big up to Ben White for that pass to Jesus as well, by the way. What a pass from the back that was. Hitting it early. And then the second goal was just good all-round play, wasn't it? Martinelli back
heel. It's a great finish.
You know, getting in there, 1 touch, hit, bang, in the corner, 2-0 Arsenal. We didn't look like conceding after that. Again, clean sheet away from home, Sophie. Really important. We've kept a lot of clean sheets away from home this season. Good performances. And I don't know if you saw this, man. Say to Zinchenko.
Yes, I loved it, Kev. What did he say?
Don't effing take the piss. Don't effing take the piss because he got caught on it. Do not take the piss. Play. That's what I want to see. And you know what? Maybe it's a bit of tiredness coming in where Zinchenko is just trying to get out of a... No. We take no risks. We don't need to take risks. And I love to see that, Ramsdale. Honestly, I love to see that. Wake him up. Wake him up. We don't need to take risks because all you need is them to go and get 1 goal, and we're against the pump, aren't we?
Yeah.
No messing around.
I loved seeing that too, Kev. And I love that he's unafraid. And you could see even in the All or Nothing documentary, like if we lost or he would concede a goal, how he would react to that. And yelling at your teammates, you've been there, you've been in those situations. You love your teammates, but when you're in a competitive situation, yelling at each other is just fine, is it not? There's
Got
no
to be. There's no
harm,
messing
no
around.
foul.
No messing around, Sophie. Sometimes you got to be woken up. And it's the way you use your voice as well will wake you up, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't rate Zinchenko highly in the game, but like Schrodinger's is saying, his worst game so far, but he's coming back from an injury, Kev. He hasn't played a lot. So I think that this break for the World Cup is going to be good for him. Alcarp, no early show, usual time. We're just going on. We're keeping going here. It's too good. It's too good to stop right now. Kev, you touched on Odegaard and the first half performance. I just wanted to get your take on, Tottenham are getting lauded a lot for second half performances. But when you see the adjustments that we made, we weren't great in the first half. I think Jesus
allowed
was
to be.
and that's the thing, because they had a bank of what? I mean, they were playing 5 in the middle of the park.
They had a bank of 11. No, you watch it. They had a bank of 11. And soon as you got past the front, they would pounce. Because we were trying to play it wide and they were pouncing and intercepting balls. They made life so much more difficult for us. That was their best performance of the season. Their best performance.
They looked better than bottom, didn't they, Kev?
But we dealt with them. Good signs for us. And that weren't our greatest performance.
No.
But we adjusted. That's what the good teams do.
And I think that's the evolution of this Arsenal under Arteta for sure, Kev, is that you always say to me sometimes there's certain games you don't care. Just if it's an ugly 1-0 win, you take it, you move on to the next match. The second half I thought was much better performance. Professionalism that we're seeing. I know people use that a lot in the game, and help everyone, because sometimes it's a beautiful performance, the way you play football, champagne style. It could be defensive, but then there's the professional performance. You just do the business. Have you not seen that more from this side this season as well, Kevin, in a couple games?
Can you just add in the fact that the pressure was on because of the Brentford result?
And the other results. We played that day, Kev.
But remember, we're looking at we're top.
Yes.
And we're expecting City to win, so the yo-yo happens, so they go top. Brentford win, and then you think, hold on, we win, we can extend our lead. That's big pressure. And you're going in the back garden of Wolves. That's big pressure, because you know what, Sophie? It could have easily been a banana skin for us.
Yeah.
Easily.
Agree.
So we're playing with a lot more pressure. But these players are starting to understand what it's like to wear that cannon on the chest, Soph. That comes with the pressure and pressures of being at the Arsenal. Being top for the Arsenal, they've made us all proud. And I know we've won nothing, but do you know what? If you'd have gave us this in August, Soph, you'd be 5 points clear going into Christmas. Would you have taken it, Soph?
Kev, I keep looking at the table because I can't believe we're 15 points clear of Liverpool and 20. Is it 20 or 21 points clear of Chelsea? I'm blown away. And 5 points clear of Manchester City, who, Kev, everybody told us are going to walk the league because they have Haaland.
Hey,
now,
listen, they still might.
They might, and they may well.
We don't know what's going to go on in the future. But you know what we can do, Soph? We can try and address our weaknesses in January. That's what we've got to do now, Sophie. No messing around now. We are 5 points clear. Top of the league. If the owners don't realize what's going on right now, and say, Mikel, go and get maximum 3, minimum 2. Go and get them. Because we've got a chance. So that's all we've ever wanted is a chance to go for it. We bring in 3 quality players, we've got a chance. That's what we want.
Kev, do you think that I asked you this, and I'm going to ask you this same question every week until January comes? Surely we're not going to make this. I understand strategic objectives, fiscal responsibility, budgets, right? But surely we're not going to let this opportunity pass us by. Surely not.
Well, I hope so. I hope not, Soph. I sincerely hope not. Last season was a different scenario in a sense. We were trying to get top 4, and maybe you could be a little bit more coy. We need the right player. We're top of the league now. We need the right bodies in to push. Do you know what we have to do? We got to strengthen so Manchester City go, hold on a minute. Because nobody ever talks about them like going, whoa. When Liverpool are coming from behind, then they're going, whoa. And they catch Liverpool catch them. We're in front, Soph. I want to lead from the front. I want to kick. That's what I want to do. I want to kick. Let them be chasing us. But we're going to need the squad for that because there are a lot of games and a lot of cup games and Europa League and all that kind of thing. We're going to need a squad. We're going to need it stronger. And we're going to need ESR.
Yeah. Kev, I sent you that picture of his guns out.
Listen, man.
Guns out, guns out.
He's been doing his burpees. I like that. He's been training. We're going to need ESR. Yeah, it's cubed. You're right. He's going to be like a new signing. We need him to come back and we need him ready to go because he is going to have a very prominent role to play.
So, Kev, I also think that I know there's some Arsenal fans, and we've had the conversation, and you explained to everyone a week ago the difference between Zinchenko and Tierney. And I want everyone to just, it wasn't Zinchenko's best game, but the dude has been out for how many weeks, right? He's just coming back into match fitness. But Kev, when you look at the starting 11, we're top of the league. And the players who have had to come in and deputize in certain positions and be versatile, we're going to need Tomiyasu. We're going to need Tierney. We're going to need those players, right?
Need everybody, Soph. I'm telling you. Going to need them all. Because obviously Tomiyasu is going to the World Cup. He's going to get his match fitness.
He will play games.
He's going to get his match fitness, which is fine. I expect him to, no disrespect, I expect him to be coming back early. Right? No disrespect. Might surprise a few. Who knows?
I think Spain might be the casualty in that group, but go on, Kev.
Hey, you never, Sophie, the great thing about it is we just don't know because it's the first time it's been in the middle of the season. So we don't know. But we're going to need Tierney. Tierney, people could say Zinchenko didn't have a good game. But Wolves' game plan was very good. We needed Zinchenko in there to help Partey, whereas Tierney doesn't play that role like Zinchenko. Nobody plays that role like Zinchenko does. That's the important part, where sometimes they have to adjust to you because of Zinchenko. So it keeps them on the back foot as opposed to them being on the front foot. So I understand he didn't have a great game, but he wasn't terrible.
No.
He weren't terrible. He had a 6 out of 10. He had an average game, 6 out of 10, which is fine. Yeah. But he is so instrumental to how we play. His 6 out of 10 helps Partey, helps Martinelli, helps Jesus. So let them shine. He's not going to shine all the time, but let Martinelli and Jesus shine. Let Ødegaard shine. We don't mind, but we still win 2-0 very comfortably second half.
Yeah. You know, on the post-game show, I said, I was talking about partnerships and how Xhaka and Partey, and Xhaka's the best partner to Partey and whatever. And someone jumped in the chat and said Zinchenko is now the best partner to Partey. And I just wanted to bring it up, Kev, because you just said it.
Yeah. Look, I think because the reins have been taken off Xhaka in a sense, whereas he can now move forward freely because he knows I've got the insurance policy behind me in Zinchenko, who's a midfielder. But isn't it funny? You take Xhaka out, and we can't really get going because the opposition stifle us.
Yeah, they were suffocating.
They stifled us. And that's good play by Wolves. But the key is we've got to adjust. And we adjusted and we worked them out, Soph. And the same player who plays in Xhaka's position goes through and sets up the first goal. That's good. That's good play. That is good play. That's a player understanding what he needs to do and executing. That's all we are, Soph. If you take one out, you come in and make a difference. Vieira's done that. Didn't have a great game, but the little bits that he done, the quality, the first goal, hey, listen, that was worth you coming on.
I loved how he wasted. I thought he was better in the second half, Kev, and I liked the adjustments for most of the team, to be honest. As I said, I thought Jesus was trying everything in the first half, and most of the other players couldn't settle in. I think losing Xhaka, they were adapting to what Wolves were presenting as well. But I thought he did well. And what I loved about the goal, like you touched on it, because this is something that Martinelli has gotten a little bit better at, and Saka, look up more and hit that pass right away. His technical ability is there. You can see it. Emil Smith-Rowe's raved about him, having played against him at under 21 level in internationals and stuff. But I love how he wasted no time, Kev, to get the ball in. And I think that's really important. I got two questions for you before we go real quick, because a lot of people, and Demsek was the one that instigated the conversation. We're talking about Jesus playing a little wide. You talked about it though, and said that that's how we were able to penetrate Wolves in the end in that second half.
Ben White found him. That was the only space, Soph, because because of the way Wolves had set up. As a striker, a lot of the time, if you're running onto somebody close, you're running onto another player. You're making runs. So sometimes what Jesus done, he ran out there, ball came over, all of a sudden, he's comfortable in the wide areas. All of a sudden, the defense stretches and there's gaps. And as there's gaps, that quick pass in behind, Vieira runs in. That's how we score the first goal.
Okay, so the other question that is coming from a lot of the squaddies, Kev, and when we're looking at January, pushing on, we all love Jesus and what he brings to the team, and it's good and it's working now because other players are scoring goals. But you yourself have said, like, we need backup in that area. You don't fancy Eddie to be able to do it over a long period of time. God forbid if something happens to a Jesus. Are you recalling Balogun? He's doing so well on his loan spell. Are you leaving him out there the same way you said leave Saliba out there and see what play we get back after allowing him that loan spell?
Yeah. Balogun needs a season. He needs a season. Balogun's all-round game isn't Jesus. Eddie's all-round game isn't Jesus. So you're recalling him, it's not going to be the same. Whoever plays up there. So I'd rather he gets that season under his belt. A full season. Let's see what he can do. Let's see how after the break he fears. Let's see how that goes. Because him coming into this Arsenal squad will imagine trying to play him and put all that pressure on him. No, I don't. That's not fair. I think he stays where he is.
See, I touched on that on Saturday, because said that it might seem like players are being set up to fail, but it's not that. It's not deliberate. Look what happened to Patino in that FA Cup game against Forest. Look what happened to Balogun And even, I think it was Martinelli, when we played Brentford in the first game of last season, when you don't have the supporting cast around you. Look how much better Vieira played, Kev, in the second half when he had...
when we adjusted.
Yeah.
When we start to find our rhythm.
Yeah.
And you know what, Sophie? Sometimes those painful games are the best games because that's where you learn more. You know, for let me tell you something. For Martinelli and Balogun, that Brentford game was an eye opener at the start of last season.
Yeah, sure was.
Is that the level? And these are a team who just come from the Championship.
Yeah.
Is that the level? Because they couldn't really get a kick. But you can see the trajectory that these boys are on. Martinelli obviously is on a higher trajectory at the moment than Balogun. But Balogun's finding his feet in France. He's scoring goals. He's got assists. He's doing well. Hey, let's keep him on that trajectory. Let's keep him there. And do you know what, Sophie? We need 3 players. If we get 4, I'll be doing cartwheels. But we need 3. I'll accept 2.
We're going to get Kev's take on who those 3 players are during the World Cup, you guys. We'll do a show where Kev talks about the 3 players that he feels, not necessarily names, but in which positions.
Positions, yeah.
In order for us to really hit the ground running after this World Cup. It's just been a great show today. We've given them 1.5 hours of pure Monday madness magic, Super Kev.
And we've had a Man United fan on and a Newcastle fan on. There you go.
Who were very complimentary about our Gunners.
Hey, they had to be. Look who's top of the league, squaddies. Who's top of the league?
I love how you broke Emil's neck just a little bit, and then at the end he got a little confidence, and he's like, "I got
cocky." I'll see you at St James's. Don't worry about that.
We got 14 more likes to go to get to 200 for the night. Chief Like Officer Tammy Steels, make sure that you guys hit it, doing her thing. We also have great news, you guys. On the last show, we talked about sending out love to Miss Melina, a friend of the show and a talented artist. Xhaka just recently acknowledged her painting. She is awake and doing better, and that is great news, Super Kev. So sending lots of love, and the family sent us lots of love for having her in our thoughts as well. Where's Vinny at? Okay, fine. You want Vinny? We'll bring out Vinny one more time before we go. Why not? Little Vince, little Vinny Vieira, his middle name. Don't you forget, Vincent Vieira Nicolaou. Look at him.
Sophie, with the bow tie. Sophie, question for the squaddies.
Do it.
How does it feel to be top of the league, squaddies?
And look, JC just literally wrote that before you said it.
Yeah, how does it feel?
Come on, guys. As we get the next, we're going to reach the 200 likes. Let Kev know how it feels to be top of the league. They've been feeding us their comments. Lynn, we're already on it. Trust me. You know us. Woo! We are way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. Vinny, go on, my son. Cheers, says Bonzo. Feels so good. Yerky or Jerky is giving the thumbs up. Arsenal are top of the league, Kev. It feels so good.
Tell me, George, I love it.
Great, baby. Fan blooming-tastic, says Gooner Rose. Trev is enjoying all the crying from the pundits, Kev. Do you hear Alex Crook? Oh, my gosh.
I love it.
100%, says Daniel. You see how they're turning the story now. Arsenal fans not thinking they can win the league. Really, people? Really?
So just keep celebrating the wins, Gooners. Keep celebrating. Pay them no mind. We do it all together. Remember?
Absolutely.
We do it all together.
Absolutely. Elliot says he's top of the world. Rays over the moon. Yes. Jeff Gold says, try that again, Kev, but with the gloating. Ask O'Hara.
But without the gloating.
Without the gloating, yeah.
I love it.
I'm moving so fast. Let's see. Seeing Sherwood and O'Hara wince is God tier. I think he means Well, they're happy, Kev. Look at them. They're all seeing how they love the squirming. We've done it. 200. Well done, Chief Like Officer. Well done, everybody. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Tomorrow, there's no live show. On Wednesday, I'll let you know a little bit more about how things are going to shake here on Highbury Squad Central during the World Cup. Tomorrow morning, you can catch me on Paper Talk on Sky Sports News. Kev, anything going on this week that you want the squaddies to know about? Nothing?
Nothing. Loads of private stuff. So
love it.
Nothing
it's
too
time
fancy.
for us to catch up, isn't it, Kev?
Yeah.
A few weeks to just catch up on stuff.
Yeah, catch up. I've got dinners and all that kind of thing with family.
Lovely.
The boys.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah. Will you be watching the World Cup, Kev? Are you into it?
I'm doing the World Cup with Geordie Pete. We've got on Hollywood Balls.
Yeah.
We'll be doing bits
covering
with it. Yeah, we'll be doing bits with that.
Are you going out there or are you staying local?
I will be. I will be going out. I'm not sure when though, but we'll be going out to Dubai at some stage.
Yes. I'm supposed to be leaving for Qatar on Friday, but we'll see. Been in two minds about it, squaddies. You can let us know what you think in the YouTube comments. Love that you've enjoyed the show. It's been a stressful week, to be honest with you, but a good one as well. Here at Squad Central, we love having you guys. Thanks so much for your support, your continued support. And thank you for all your love to Tony. Thanks, Demsek. Demsek's got negative results, Kev. So he's all good. He's ready to rock and roll.
Fantastic.
All good.
Brilliant stuff. And don't forget, squaddies, never forget, health is wealth. Ask Gooner Russ. He would tell you, health is wealth. Keep your mind right and your body right. Very important. Even if you get a chance, even go for a 10-minute walk, honestly. Slow walk. Keep that right and your body right.
Definitely. I'm going to hand it over to Super Kev right now to close this epic show.
Well, squaddies, we're top of the league. We're going to be top for Christmas. That means Christmas #1. So, I know we're going to see you at some stage before then, but tell your loved ones you love them. Look after your health, look after your mind, and make sure you have a big smile on your face from being #1. At ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.